Hi everybody, my name is Ben Wright Human, cartoonist extraordinaire, and welcome to the live draw of CosPain strip number 105. This one is about doing outdoor cosplay shoots in the summer and the crazy sweatiness that you get into with all of that. Now, the way I'm going to do this, as I always do, is I will be doing the pencils and inking today, and tomorrow, Sunday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so same time as this one, I will be doing the coloring. So, get things started, I will show you the thumbnail so you get an idea of the joke. And things are lagging a little bit. Computer's a little cranky today. All right, so the basic joke is there's an outdoor shoot. Everybody's all sweaty, complaining about how makeup's running, dealing with wigs and big props, enjoying the idea of swimsuit costumes for later, which is a thing, by the way. And then there's the person wearing the full body outfit who is dying because they are in a full body, fully covered outfit in the heat. And that's a joke. Pretty straightforward. This comic is based on, well, pretty much every summer con I've ever been to. There's been a problem with this, where some of my cosplay friends will want to do photo shoots outside, and it usually results in just stickiness and nastiness and unpleasantness, but you get great photos out of it, so I guess it's worth it. And as someone who, but I tend to prefer the characters that are more covered to cosplay. One of the last major cosplays I did was Zero from the game Zero Time Dilemma. And that meant a full Plague Doctor outfit. And thankfully, I was wearing it in the winter, because if I wore it during the summer, I would be dead. But that's sort of the idea behind this. It has been an eventful few weeks since I did my last stream. I've been getting a lot of feedback about strip number 100, which has been exciting. I did get, and this was interesting, my first piece of hate mail for it, which I'm not going to go into too much. I will say that it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it was going to, so awesome. But it was specifically about strip number 100. Go figure. One of the things that I've come to realize, and I'm glad I figured this out before I got this piece of mail, but one of the toughest things about the whole creator process is getting your work out to people who want to see it. And that is just, it's part of the game. It's difficult, it can be messy, and you never know how it's going to work out. But in general, I've gotten almost exclusively positive feedback. And that's not because my work is perfect or anything crazy like that. It's like that because when you're trying to hit specific demographics, you're mostly going to be hitting the people who want to read what you're reading. And those are mostly the people who are going to care enough to comment. So I kind of realized that if you are getting big enough that people who don't like your comics are paying enough attention, like they not only read through the comic, but they email you about the comic, then you're reaching people, your reach has gotten so big that even people who don't like your stuff are reading your comic. And that really has been helpful to me, realizing that. It makes me a lot less scared to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. And let's see. So that was an interesting experience. I messaged a couple friends when it happened just to say, check it out, I got hate mail. I made it to the bigs, Ma. Well, that was an interesting experience. Ugh. There we go. Oh yeah, it's being very cranky today. I have been working my computer pretty hard the last few days. I've been doing a lot of work on my graphic novel, The Letters of the Devil. Well, the sequel, Letters of the Devil, too. I've just gotten into the inking stage, and I was kind of expecting it to go a lot faster than it has been. And there's something my mom always says is that however long you think something's going to take, it's going to take more time. And that was definitely true here. Always scares me when it does that. Because as far as I know, it doesn't save recovery information. So I'm going to manually save. All right. What costume should I do for this? I know. Well, she's not dealing with a crazy wig. What is that going to mean? It's mentioned in the dialogue that the others are dealing with crazy wigs. So just give her like a light, kind of a pixie cut wig. With little antennae, because why not? It's going to go much lower. How about little side things that come out of it? That'll work. And high boots, because I already kind of drew her in heels. Thankfully, I'm not going to have to draw some of this again. Cool. All right. So, one of the big things that happened recently, just in the past week, is that I appeared on a podcast. There's a local Columbus podcast called the PVD Cast. You can find it at pvdcast.com. The guy running it, a great guy named John Orlando, asked if I wanted to be interviewed for it. He'd interviewed a bunch of other people in the Columbus comics community, and I was like, sure, why not? And it went great. It was a blast, absolute blast. I was a little worried because I had not done an interview like that before, but I mean, the real trick with interviews is you got to get the person talking about themselves, and I do this, so obviously I've got no problem talking about myself. Yeah, ask most people that know me; they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, he never shuts up about himself." Let's see, it's gonna have to be a warrior outfit of some kind. I'll do that for fun. But yeah, the PVD cast went. It was a great time. We met up at the Westerville Library and got to get my interview on. If anyone wants to check that out, I do have it. I mentioned the website before. I also have it hosted on my Patreon, so you'd be able to find it. That's patreon.com/bwhcomics. So I started talking about doing inking for letters, and then promptly let myself get distracted by trying to design these costumes on the fly. No, I'm gonna make it like a weird hammer thing. Cool. Yeah, inking in CosPain is a pretty quick process. No. Like the penciling takes a little bit because I'm figuring out stuff. Like right now, I'm designing these costumes on the fly. I just did placeholder characters. But then the inking, I'm pretty much just tracing what I did, and that's fine. Uh, I was kind of expecting it to be like that for letters. And unfortunately, that has proven to not be the case since, uh, unfortunately, they're kind of kicking my butt. I'm still about 35, 40 pages behind where I'm supposed to be at this point. But it's finally beginning to pick up. 2 days ago, I did 12 and a half inch pages in a single day, and I was completely beat afterwards, but I did it. So it's a definite step in the right direction, and hopefully, I'm able to keep something like that up. I will be able to uh, get stuff done a little bit quicker. All right, that's two of the costumes designed. You know, it's funny. I thought this would be a particularly quick comic because there's not a lot crazy happening, but I'm having to design these costumes on the fly, which is taking a little bit longer, a little bit more of my attention than I had originally intended. So I apologize if I'm getting quiet. I need this background to be a little bit lighter because it's distracting me. That should be good. And you get the big wig because that's what you're complaining about in the script. So part of what I think has been helping me uh, get back on track with doing the inking for letters, it's always important to make sure the part of your brain that gets distracted easily doesn't get uh, crazy distracted, which is my excuse for multitasking and watching stuff while I do that type of wig. Cool. For multitasking and doing other stuff while I'm drawing. And lately, what I've been started listening to, rather than doing audiobooks, which I really get into, or watching stuff, which also has a habit of distracting me, I've started getting into a set of podcasts by these guys called the MacLeod brothers. They're great. Um, on the replay, I will put a link to their YouTube channel, but they do a really cool. Here we go. You're actually going to be behind everybody, so I'm not going to go as crazy about designing you. They have a fun channel called My Brother and Me, or a fun podcast that is specifically about um, lazily. Cool. It's basically them doing an advice show, but badly, like intentionally badly. That's sort of the idea. And they are very funny people, so it is pretty great. All right. Rebus, how do I draw you for this? Oh, too far. Okay. Getting some weird lag right there. Is anything open that shouldn't be open? Take a quick peek at Task Manager. Okay. Well, Looks like Google Chrome's going a little crazy, so not much I can do about that right now, since it just tends to go crazy. That's kind of Google Chrome's thing. All right, let's see if this gets better. Yep, that's better. That's too short. I don't mind Rebus being a little short. So Rebus is a nod to the comic Doom Patrol. I read that, or read through part of it, shortly before I created this comic. And I had the idea for a character who always wears the full body costumes, and it's never clear what that character's gender is. That's one of the running gags. I never want anyone to know. And the name Rebus comes from something there. It's one of the most direct references that I've put in the comic. Rebus, mythologically, was a hermaphroditic character. And in Doom Patrol, when I was reading it, there's a character that was called Negative Man, who had been male, merged with a woman, and ended up in an in-between state, which was Grant Morrison trying to be very progressive for the era that he was working this in. This was made in the 80s, so issues like this weren't being very openly talked about. In fact, he got in a little trouble with DC for trying to talk about them in this comic. But one of the things that happened after this figure merged and became hermaphroditic was they decided to go by the name Rebus, based on that mythology. And so when I was creating this character, I was like, okay, that's a good cosplayer name. I think that works pretty well. I'm going to do that type of mask. Go for goggles. I'm going to do a big old floppy. I think a witch style hat would be cool. Give a spiky top. Then make it into a cloak. You can't really see what's inside the cloak. That'll be good enough. All right, that's the first panel done. I always intended for Rebus to be in more comics, to be a central part of the cast, and I've had a little trouble getting enough jokes for them. And I am always trying to work them in more. I was talking about this in my last live stream about Mike, who's the tabler. Not the tabler, the staffer. But it's always tricky because you never know exactly. If you don't have jokes for something, it's really hard to get it in there. I have plans for introducing a furry character as well, and I just haven't figured out a good intro. I've got some basics for the character, but getting the actual execution has been a little bit difficult. That is something I plan to do, though, since furries are an important part of con life these days. And, well, most of the furries I've met have been really cool, so I want to cater them better than I am currently.